first I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we're meeting on tonight, and the elders past, present and emerging. For a little bit of housekeeping, the main toilets, and I'll just check, are they still open, Louise?
Yeah, just get the staff and we can take you in.
Yeah. So the main toilets are closed, but what we've asked for the staff members for a pass, we can take you through the back door and into the rear toilets in there. In the very unlikely event of an emergency, we had to follow down the stairs and meet down on the meeting place down here. Smokers, please go out to the Maywar Green and put your butts in the bin. I'm Christina Canendo. I manage the Kuril Dhagun Centre, and tonight we have Sophia and Jatia as staff and photographer Lewis. So thank you all for coming. So tonight you're privileged to have an intimate chat around the fire with two-time Olympic basketballer Danny Morseu. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce to you Danny's grandson Leroy, who has kindly offered to play the didgeridoo for you as part of our welcome, and it's a very special didgeridoo made by Leroy's grandfather and uncle. Thank you, Leroy. Well done. So welcome again tonight, Danny. Thank you for travelling here from the Toowoomba region. We're very privileged to have you here this evening. We will be recording and taking some photographs, so if you do object, please let one of the staff know so that we can not record you or remove you from the photos if possible. As a child growing up on Thursday Island, can you please tell us, Danny, a little about how it was being raised in such a remote location, and what was your inspiration to first pick up a basketball?
Yeah, I grew up on Thursday Island. Thursday Island is right between Wednesday and Friday Island. Alright, there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on the road, but that's true. Look, my childhood, I guess, I grew up on what they call a reservation, which was at the back of Thursday Island, and it was a place where government would bring Aboriginal Torres Strait people to live in those days, where we were sort of living in a town or a town centre as such. And how I learned about that was later on in life, but I'll get to that story. But just growing up on Thursday Island, we lived around the back, and we lived in a house which had no electricity, no running water. I grew up with my grandparents and my mum, and we had to walk probably about a mile to get some water and bring it back in buckets, especially when it's dry season up there in the Torres Strait. And I recall vividly, I used to do things like this now, sitting around the fire as a kid, whether it's on the beach or at home, we're sitting around, and I reflected back on a story when I was young, growing up, spending time with my grandparents, was that I had to go up to the hill, side of the hill, and cut firewood so we can cook. And we had those old stoves, we used to put all the firewood in those days, and we used to cook damper and rice and tin meat and all sorts of things. And my grandfather also always made caulmurray in the Torres Strait. It's like a honey where you bury all your food under the ground, and especially when there's a lot of us sort of family get together and we would prepare one of those, and we used to put like a couple of pigs in there and some what we call sop and mix vegetables and stuff. So put it in coconut juice and just put it in the honey, and we used to have like get together like that, really fresh food. My grandfather used to have like garden in the backyard, so we used to eat a lot of fresh sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and corn, and mangoes. And everything was really, really fresh in those days. But now today we seem to be buying it in the supermarket now. But at the end of the day, I recall when we used to have monsoon season, and in our house we didn't have bedrooms. We just like, it was probably as big as this area here. Yeah, but my grandparents would live over that side, and we would live over this side. And when it rains, the water used to leak in the roof. The old corrugated iron, rusty corrugated roof used to leak, and we used to have the bucket underneath there, or the milk tin and stuff, put it underneath so the water can. And we used to drop it out in the middle of the night, especially when it rains heavy. So there were fond memories of kids growing up there, and also our kitchen. We didn't have any floor in our kitchen. We had dirt floor, and with the wood stove. And I recall when I used to go up and cut firewood, I used to stack it all up underneath the kitchen table and stuff. We didn't have any fridge, so to save our butter, we used to put it in the middle of a pan with water around it, so the ants can't get to it. So, but those were fond memories of my childhood growing up in the Torres Strait. Then I recall once when I didn't understand it, but I recall once I had to go and visit family on St. Paul's one year, and I recall going down to the wharf and jumping on the boat and getting ready to go, and I'm sitting up the front of the forward of the boat, and I'm thinking, oh man, it's going to be so beautiful. The water's flat as a tack. You can see the bottom of the ocean. It's so beautiful up there. And I recall the priest came up to me and said, oh, is Danny Morseu? I said, yeah, that's me. And I put my hands up, and he came over. He said, oh, you can't go to St. Paul's. I said, why? He said, you didn't get permission to go. I said, yeah, I got permission off my mum. And he said, no, not that type of permission. You have to go up to the administration centre to get permission to travel to visit your family. And that's when the government was controlling Aboriginal and Torres Strait people's movement throughout Queensland in those days. So I didn't understand it, but I got pretty upset about it when I left, and just grabbed my port on my shoulder, and away I go. I went back home, and I was so upset. But the following week I ended up going over because they sorted all out the paperwork and that for me to travel. So yeah, it was something I learned as a child growing up. I didn't understand, what actually happened. Was when I was growing up in school, we weren't allowed to speak language in school. I spoke a few languages in the Torres Strait, from Eastern, Western, and also Pidgin English in the Torres Strait. So English wasn't our first language growing up in the Torres Strait, especially for a lot of those kids up there. English was our second language, or second, or third, or fourth language. So our Thursday Island was, I guess, probably a big melting pot of people from all over the world. When we had the influx, pearling industry was huge in the Torres Strait. And what happened, we had people from all over the world travel there, from the Pacific Islands, from Japan, China, Jamaica, England, Greece, basically the Italians, from all over the world. People went there to try and make a living out of pearl, and it was huge. And I've got also connections to the Pacific Islands as well. A place called Wutuma. It's part of the Fijian Islands and the Fiji Islands, but my great-grandfather came from there and migrated to the Torres Strait to work in the pearling industry, and he died up there. And he had 6 kids, 2 girls and 4 boys. And I guess probably I'm the offspring of my grandfather. But we also have both the Aboriginal and Torres Strait family, and we've got relations and also in Cape York area as well. We're well connected through that area. So we got family basically all over the Torres Strait right now, to be honest with you. But as a child, growing up there, I went to high school and I was inducted to school in my final year up there, and I was young. I was a young kid who didn't really know what I wanted in life, like a lot of young kids today. 15, going 14, 15, 16, they're unsure about their destiny in life. And I made a decision. I said, look, I've got to go get off the island. We call it the Rock. Thursday Island, the Rock. It's like a hard rock. It takes you about 20 minutes to walk. Drive around the place, but just over an hour to walk right around the island, so it's a pretty small place. But when I left there, I left Thursday Island to go to Cairns for employment courses. And I started playing rugby league and also basketball down in Cairns. And then I made a decision then that what sport I wanted to play, because basketball was an opportunity for me to travel, to travel the world, and so I chose basketball. But just before I start talking about my basketball journey, I recall just growing up at Thursday Island, there was a guy who sort of inspired me to make it to the top, and his name was Michael Armatt. He was the first Aboriginal man to represent Australia in basketball up from the Northern Territory, and he came up there around a basketball clinic up there, and I recall he was trying to teach me how to do a layup. I was pretty hopeless actually doing a layup, basic layup, or the fundamentals of the game to shoot the basketball. I wasn't very good at all, but I recall the story he told me about his journey. He said to me, he said, look, you can be whatever you want to be if you put your mind to it and you commit to it. And he said he was lucky enough that he loved basketball and he wanted to play basketball, and he's travelled, to a couple of Olympics with the Australian team, and also had the opportunity to travel and play in different parts of the world, which was fantastic. And Michael Armatt was the one who sort of, I guess, probably inspired me to look at an option. But he said to me, it's always important to focus on education as well. And if you can combine both, your journey is going to be a very good journey in life. So I was fortunate enough when I left Thursday Island to go down. You want me to stop there? But anyway, I ended up going to Cairns. So I had the opportunity to represent Queensland, to play basketball. So I travelled to Perth for the national championship, representing Queensland in the under 20s. And it was like a carrot was dangling in front of me. They made me, for my first time, to play at the national championship. They dangled a carrot in front of me, so they put me in the reserve for the Australian under 20 side. I'm going, how good am I? No, but it was like, it was an opportunity for me to consider what I wanted to do in life, because that little carrot made me determine where I want to go. And St Kilda Basketball Club has always toured Queensland, and every 2 years as part of Queensland Basketball Association development program. And they came up from Melbourne, and Brian Curl was coaching them. He coached the Bullets, and was my mentor, and still my mentor today. He came up, and I played the games against him in Mackay, Townsville, Cairns and Mareeba. And then he offered me to go down to Melbourne to play basketball in Melbourne. And I really jumped at the opportunity, because I always figured if an opportunity comes your way, it only comes once in a lifetime. And if it does, you need to capitalise on it. And so I took the opportunity. I went to Melbourne. I was very young and very immature. I guess probably, getting down there when I was just turning 17. I just turned 17 down there. So. And another young player, a good mate of mine today, and still mates for life. And one championship together was Larry Sengstock. He came down from Maryborough, and we all went down to Melbourne. And he was 16, I was 17. We were living together. Well, Larry, it's your turn to cook tonight. What are you going to cook, mate? You know, baked beans on toast. So I mean, that's the way we were growing up. I'll cook spaghetti on toast one morning and do baked beans on toast. Those are the sort of things we used to do. And then we were living down there for just over 10 years. I think it was the best adolescent life experience in the Melbourne public, and also the people in Melbourne were fantastic, really good. They made me feel welcome. And you know, the funny thing was, I experienced down there was. I recall going into Look, but the boys had bread and Look when I first went down there. And I went in there, and the lady behind the counter can't speak English. And I'm going, what country am I in? You know? But in those days, you know, when I recall, there was the Greek population was the second largest population in Melbourne outside of Athens at that time. So there was probably about 350,000 Greeks living in Melbourne and 300,000 Italians. So they owned all the milk bars, you know, and we walk in a milk bar and they come speak English, and the kids come up and they speak English, you know, to what they wanted. So it's really amazing. These people can't speak English, but they're making money, you know. So, but you know, and I think about my people, you know, back home. I said, you can't speak English, but they're making money. They're doing all right. So, you know, we should be able to do something. But at the end of the day, it taught me something about, you know, multiculturalism, how big it was. But I think we had multiculturalism in the Torres Strait before I left there. You know, I didn't realise that. But you know, you grow up and you just accept the situation and move on from there. But it's been a wonderful journey, and my goal was, when I went down there to Melbourne, was to represent my country, to wear the green and gold for my country. And you know, it's hard work. It doesn't come easy. Nothing comes easy in life. You got to work for it. And I used to train 3 times, sometimes twice a day initially when I went down there. 6 days a week, and we used to train once on Sundays. But I used to get up in the morning. I used to clock up probably about 5 Ks, just out, you know, stretching my legs. And in the afternoon, I would train with the team, or we'd put up 200 shots in the afternoon. And it was like that every day of the week. And like within 6 months of that sort of intense training, I just went to another level. You know, in terms of performance and hard work, and it's about, you know, your journey. It's about commitment. It's about discipline. It's about you focusing on yourself. And you know, while you're down there, I've always said this to players when I meet players today, young players, young guys, young girls. I always say to them, when you go on that journey, go by yourself. Because once you get tied up with somebody, you're gone. You know, you're gone. Your journey's going to change, and your path's going to go a different way in life. So, but yeah, I was on myself and just look after myself, care about number one, put number one first, and then I played for Victoria in the under-20s, and I represented Australia in the under-20s, and then the seniors, and I recall going to the Philippines for the World Championships, and over there, Filipinos are mad basketball players. You noticed just recently on the press? Oh yeah, they don't mind swinging it too. They're getting out there, but look, at the end of the day, it was interesting because when I recall going to the World Championship, and we played against USA. We played like a 5-game test series against a college team that was representing the United States of America and was going over there. And we got there, and from the airport, as soon as they picked us up, we jumped in the bus. and there was a police car at the front, a police car at the back, there was motorbikes at the back, and there was a army truck at the back of that truck, and escorting us to the accommodation facilities. And then we had to go to training, and when we got to training, there was guys who got off the bus, and we go in, and there's escort down there again. There's police cars at the back, bikes, and army personnel everywhere. And there was army people standing in a row where we just walk in the middle, and there's guys there carrying M16s and looking out the other way. And we've gone for training. It was absolutely amazing. The security was just unbelievable. When we go in and the stadium and train and get ready, I remember when we get prepared to play United States of America in the first game, the World Championship was. There was 20,000 people in there, and they had the good people up to about 15,000, and then there was another fence fenced off up the top, and they had 5,000 people sitting around up the top. We were going to go crazy, throwing cans and bottles and stuff like that. It was an eye-opener for me to go to the World Championships and experience that. I said, God damn, we don't have this sort of security in Australia. But, it was a great experience because you don't realise how other countries are, the situation is in other countries and stuff, and we don't never understood the politics of it too. We just go there as players, and everything's so secure. And so that was my experience of the World Championship, going over there for the first time, and I was lucky enough that when I prepared myself for I felt so proud then to play for my country at the first World Championships, and I guess I was only 19 or something. I can't remember, that's so long ago. But like wearing the green and gold and being so proud of who you are, representing your community, you representing your family and back home, and you're reflecting on your childhood growing back up at Thursday Island. And just going back to Thursday Island again, I remember this vividly, that I didn't make the primary school team to go to Cairns to play in a tournament down in Cairns from Thursday Island. This is the primary school team. I was cut. I wasn't good enough. But I recall that, I never gave up. I just kept being persistent and kept going. And then I represented my high school, and we played in the state championship in Brisbane for the first time when I came down from Thursday Island. By the way, it was the first time down to Queen Street down here. There was a tall building, I think it's, I can't remember now. SGI or something. And there was a lift in there. First time I jumped in the lift. Oh my God. What's this thing moving? Why is it up? No, it was just so funny. But experiencing that was an eye-opener for us. We run around up at Thursday on bare feet, no shoes, we go to school with no shoes on, stuff, and we remember it's pretty cool. Or we wear thongs. Those were the days. But so that sort of will always stick out in your mind and stuff like that when what you go through life and the experiences. But the other one challenge was for me after the World Championship was to go to the Olympics, and I even trained harder for that one because I wanted to be in the starting five. I didn't want to be coming off the bench. I wanted to be in the starting five in the team. So I set myself, I go and work harder and prepare myself. I always try and, when I do things in life, I always try and visualize things. Think about, if I'm in this situation, what am I going to do and how am I going to react to this? Hypothetically, maybe I should be doing this. And so I start analysing things about how I can be better. What can I do to improve my game in basketball? Anyway, I remember the 79 before the 19. How long we have?
We're okay.
We're okay. Before we went to the Olympics, we did a tour to America in 1979. Sorry, 1978. 1979 we went to America as part of our preparation for the Olympics, you see. And I remember we went down south, like down Alabama, places like that. Never been to America before. I went down there and I didn't realise there were so many black people in America. Like, it was a real shock for me, like black Americans I'm talking about. Because when we went down south, like you'd travel in buses with like 12 blocks or something in the city. That's all black people, you know. I'm like, there's a lot of black people there. I didn't realise, you know, as America, it was a real eye-opener. Then we would go and play against universities. There was all black people, from the registrar of the university right through to the players, and everybody was black. I couldn't believe it, you know, and it was in a black neighborhood. And I remember vividly we went and played against, there was a couple of colleges we played. It was in Baltimore, one of Leroy Long's universities. I remember we went down there and it was the Leroy play. And we got up there and the boys wouldn't get out of the bus because there was black people everywhere. And the stadium was probably, you know, a few blocks up that way. Hey, we got to get out of here, guys. I ain't getting out. You know, the boys are saying, I'm not getting out of here. You're going to get rolled. You know, so. But anyway, I said, all right, then I got the throw, you know, my throw. And I said, no, I didn't throw. I said, I'll blend in a little bit. I better get out. So I get out and walked up to the. I said, hey, look, who are you looking for to play, you know, Baltimore college here? You know where we are? He said, hey, that's about there. We're going to the game. You guys want to come with us? I said, boys, let's go, boys. This guy's going to take us up. And he's like, they get out of the bus and they got their bags on their down. They were really paranoid. You know, I'd never experienced anything like it. Anyway, we got there. I said, we got in the change room and we played the game and we won. And the boys are going, hey guys, there's going to be a riot out here. There's going to be a riot. Come on, guys, settle down. You know, we're their guests, mate. They're going to come for us out of here, you know. But anyway, we got out and walked out. And there was no problems whatsoever. We got in the bus. And, oh, shit, that's all right, you know. But anyway, the next game we played we played against a player by the name of Rick Mulhorn. He went on and played NBA in America. And he was like a really great player. And I remember vividly, you know, we were playing the game, and it was in a black neighborhood. You might want to look up, you see one white face over there, one white face over here. You go, oh my God, you know, this is the second game, you know, like. But anyway, we played against Rick Moore, and Lindsay said, it was 3 minutes to go, and we're up by like 6 points. And Lindsay said, guys, you know, protect the ball, look after the ball, don't do dumb things out in the field, all right? Okay. We go out there, and Rick Moore would come down and dunk on the grasshopper, like just dunk on him. The ball would go, hit the floor, he would go right up to the stand and go, oh my God. Lindsay calls a timeout. Boys, you know, I want you guys to help Grasshopper out. You know, so, okay, all right, we'll try to help him out. Because a couple of next play down, we helped him out. And then they came down, they scored a basket. It was like a point of difference or something in the game. And Lindsay calls a timeout. He said, guys, everybody for himself. I'm like, what do you mean, Lindsay? He said, you play your man tight. Don't worry, you know. So when we hear that, Lindsay speaks. I'm saying my man's not going to score on me, you know. So we get out there. But anyway, they ran a play for Rick Mahal, and guess who was playing defense on it? A guy by the name of Grasshopper. We call his nickname was Grasshopper. He was 7'2". He can't play basketball. I can tell you now. But he comes down, he's sliding along, and he can't play defense. And Rick Moore's about 6'9", he comes down, he went one way, faked him one way, and backspin the other way, Grass slid out that way, and he went that way by himself, and he just dunked the ball so hard. The ball bounced on the floor and went up like 5 rows up in the stand. Guys, expressed the French, he said, you dumb bastards you are. This is what Lindsay said. you know he can't play basketball. Help him out for Christ's sake. But anyway, it's one of those sort of things you always think in your mind that when the pressure's on. But we ended up winning that game, which was great. So, just after that, we sort of did a tour back to LA, and we did the sightseeing and came on. So.
You kind of answered about 3 of the next So one that you haven't sort of touched on, and we've heard from most of or all of the other profiled athletes in the Ascot Grade Showcase, what have been, or have you had any disappointments throughout your career? I mean, obviously there's always positives and great moments, but have there been any negative moments?
Oh yeah, there's been a couple, but I think one which they're always stuck in the back of my mind, which I always think I probably could have got the 5 Olympics, instead of 2. But what has happened, I'll just talk quickly about in the year after, 1980, I went to the Olympics. We finished 7th in the world, and one of the disappointments there was we had Russia. We had Italy, Sweden, Australia, and Cuba. We were in one pool. And I recall that we played Cuba in the opening match. And I remember that day, we were in the starting 5 playing for Australia. And we went there and I lined up to play, and I could feel the back of my neck. I was down there, I felt so proud of where I came from, a little island, the Torres Strait, to the Olympics with a big time. Playing basketball, and how proud I was. And in that game, we ended up losing by 7 points. We were up by 15 at one stage. We ended up losing because we were so young and inexperienced, playing for the first time in the Olympics. So anyway, we played Sweden the next day. We beat Sweden by about 30, and then we played Italy, and we beat Italy by 7 points. And in those days, Italy was one of the prime teams. They were more semi-pro than any other team in the world. They were getting paid good money to play basketball in Italy. And we beat them. And then we had to go down and watch a game, and our FIBA worked it out, the Federation of International Basketball Association, worked that was Italy had to beat Cuba by exactly 7 points. Any other figure either way, like 8 or 6, we would have gone into the top 6 in the world to play out for the semi-finals. And we sat there, went that game, and they ended up beating by 7 points. But the amazing thing was, what we learned from that experience was, we only lost 1 game and we're still 27th in the world. And Italy lost 2 games, but Italy went on, and they played Yugoslavia in the grand final. And they just lost to Yugoslavia. And that could have been us. It's all about timing, chemistry when you're at that level, playing well, and performance on the day. And I felt that team we had was one of the best teams I ever played on in terms of chemistry we had to play on that day. And we were just unlucky of how it didn't come our way. And it would have been the first time Australia would have gone in to make the playoffs in the world. Straight after that, we met one of the disappointing things was we came back and at 1981, St Kilda was invited to go and play in the World Championships in Brazil. So we did play in the National NBL Grand Final. We were like pioneers. We won the 1979, 1980 Grand Final in the NBL. And then in 81, we decided to go to play in the World Championship. We ended up finishing up 6th over there in the world with the best result for Australian basketball ever. So, it was a great outcome for us. But when I came back that year, because we didn't play in the NBL Grand Final, they had like a series of games played in Adelaide. They wanted to play against us. And I didn't want to go, because I was just too tired. I said, I had studies, I was at university then, I was studying at university. I just couldn't afford to go. I didn't really want to go, but Brian said, come on, you've got to come, because if you don't go, we ain't going to win. So I said, okay, we're going to go then. So, but anyway, I ended up going, and then I did my AC, my anterior cruciate, with my right knee, and that really set me back. That's one of the most disappointing experiences I had in my life. And that's why when I talk to people today, young players who've got dreams and aspirations to be great players, they always, I always say to them, like, always focus on education as well, because you get something behind you. If something happened to you and you hurt yourself, at least you got something to fall back on. And that's what happened to me. And so after that, I just focused on getting myself, 16 months it took me to recover. And it's swimming every day, exercising, then it just started healing up, a lot of bike work, a lot of stretching, swimming twice a day, trying to get it right, and staying in shape, and eating well, sleeping well, and studying. So I sort of had the opportunity to study and focus on my studies, and which was great. And then I came back, and after that injury, I work on, I don't know if you know, a Cybex machine, but it's what a lot of athletes do these days to rehab, to recover. And I spent a lot of time doing that as well. And when I came back, it sort of messed with me psychologically as well, and physically, because how I used to jump before was not as high as I used, after the operation and stuff. So, but the great thing was I made that commitment to myself. I said, after I make a comeback, I'll go to one more Olympics, and that's it. So I made the Olympic team in '84, and it was great to see the contrast of Moscow Olympics communism in those days compared to United States of America commercialism. Totally two different Olympic games, and that's when I guess probably commercialism started to come into the Olympics, was in 1984. And and we always say when we were walking around at the Olympics, it was where's all the kids, where's all the family? I said, oh, we send them all to camps, Where did they go? Siberia? But but they used to send them away all the time, and we hardly saw the kids. Or it was only like at the Olympics at the venue, and that was it. They were gone. We never saw it. Not anybody walking around or like that. It was very, very. And the checkpoint, they only had one disco in town. Like when everything was over, people go to the one disco. And there's nothing there. Amazing thing was after the Olympics was over, we went down to have a look around. So we went to the Kremlin and had a look around, and then all of a sudden we saw this lineup, go around this building and stuff. People lined up, people said, follow this lineup. So we walked around the building, nearly one block all the way around. We got there, the people lined up to buy meat in the supermarket, in the butcher shop. You line up outside a butcher shop, one butcher shop for, the entire city. It's just crazy. But anyway, that's how it was. And everywhere we went, we sort of felt that we were watched. Being from Western allies and stuff, we watched everywhere we went. But the thing, the beauty is, what we learned over there is that the people are just normal people, It's the government. It's always, running the show. It's like Putin and Trump today, doing all their bits and pieces. He's being judged on, people want to attack him and doesn't trust the media. But at the end of the day, it was a great experience going over to Russia. When we went to the Olympics, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 checkpoints before we actually walk into our bedroom. But that's how secure they were. You had people walking around the village, the army carrying M16s, walking around, just unbelievable. Outside, the fence outside, people walking around. And I recall landing in Moscow, and we get out of the plane, there's no one around. Big airport, but no one around. It was only the athletes come back. onto the bus, get the luggage onto the bus and stuff. So it was an eye opener. And I remember I had an old pair of jeans I bought in Cairns before I went to Melbourne. I was 4 years old, faded and stuff. And I remember going in to get a massage before a game, and this guy was massaging us. Hey mate, you got any jeans? Or, what do you mean? Oh, jeans. Like, no, jeans. Oh, I had a few, huh? He said, can I buy one of you? I said, okay, how much are you going to pay? He said, I'll give you $100 US. Oh, sounds like a good deal. I'll take it. But I bought it for $40 Australian, or $20 Australian or something. Anyway, I sold it for $100 US because they were looking for Westerns goods. They never had anything like that. So, but they were buying it off me for like US dollars, like $100 US. And black market in Russia at that time was huge. It was huge, and it was just fascinating reflecting back on that. And how it's changed now. It's just the breakup of Latvia and Lithuania and all the eastern Balkan states and that. It's just absolutely amazing. Things have changed now. But I remember one of my friends from Lithuania was playing in the Strait team with me. His name was Andy Morseu. I remember we played against Russia at the World Championship in the Philippines. And he said, I'm going out there with my elbow shut. I'm going to bow these guys. And he's got a couple of them in the game, And but that's how much they love each other, the Russians and the Lithuanians. It's amazing. It was an amazing journey, and like today, just in relation to when you talk about. The migration to Australia and Lithuanians and Latvians, and they were very big in South Australia. Basketball was very big with them in South Australia, and now they've also moved to Melbourne, and they're very passionate about the game. And a few of their players from their country also played in the NBA in America, and made a lot of money. And they were very, very good. I recall, a couple of the guys I coached when I was in Melbourne. I started coaching when I was about 17. I'm still coaching today. I coached the Children Mountaineers and the stuff called QBS, Queensland Basketball League, Mansfield. But I recall coaching in Melbourne when I was 17 years old. And the first player I coached, and I coached him for a few seasons, was the current Bullets coach there, Andre Romanes. So we've got very close connections, very close ties with him and his family, and I've known them for years. And Andre always had a dream to play for Australia and also to coach. And now I guess he's probably one of the most powerful coaches in the country now. Being an Australian coach and coaching the Bullets, and he has a lot of pull at that level. But he is. They're a great family. They've always been my friends, and my friends for life, and my family for life. I guess is when you connect with people. Basketball players, I've always said, it's about family. It's about us. Going to spend 10 or 15 years together. People, traveling the world. I was grateful that basketball has taken me around the world twice. To lots of different countries in the world. It never cost me a cent to play. And I was actually getting paid to go. How good is that? And the amazing thing, I remember when I went to school up at Thursday Island, I wanted to do French. Oh, French, man, I don't want to live in Australia. I'm not even leave Thursday Island. Let alone, I travelled the world, and I said, man, I should have done French. I wanted to be bonjour. What did I have to French? But look, it was a great journey, and I'll pass it back on to you with just a couple of questions.
So I've got one final question there, Danny. Now that you're retired. Can you please tell us about your mentoring role, especially with your nephew, Paddy Mills, Nathan Jawa, Keanu Smith-Pinder and Damien Anderson? And in relation to your own family and grannies, children and grannies, have any followed yet in your footsteps?
I've got to be another half hour.
About 10.
All right. No, look, it's been a great journey as a coach as well. I've been involved with Patrick Mills and Nathan Jawa. There's a couple of young kids that came out 20 years after I went to the Olympics. And Paddy and Nathan, I recall when they were like 15 or 16, going to train with the Australian team. Now, when you get to that level, there's a lot of politics involved in sport. And the guy who was the head coach of the Boomers then was a guy by the name of Brian Gorgie. And he's an American. And I played against him in Melbourne. He was playing for Melbourne Tigers. I used to whip his butt all the time. I used to play against him. So he could never sit down afterwards. I always tell him that. But he ended up coaching me as well at Geelong when I was playing in Geelong. He was a great person, a great coach, and I remember I had to have that conversation with him about giving opportunities for Indigenous kids. I said, Brian, this is my conversation. I said, Brian, you were a bit cool when you were young. You know, someone gave you the opportunity to open the door a little bit so you could get your foot in the door. I said, yeah, I remember that. I said, yeah. You open that door for Patrick Mills, just a little bit, you know. Just get in there and see how he goes. I can tell you one thing, I've been going to the AIS, watching him play and train, and he's way up there. And you know what I'm talking about, Brian. Some athletes are playing way above everybody else, but they got to come down and play at a different level with other athletes. Patrick was way above everybody else. I said, you should give him an opportunity to play in the Australian team. Because Australia was struggling there. We were struggling for point guards and good guards coming through our system nationally. And they weren't good enough to compete what we had. And I said to him, man, we're going to start bleeding them. We're going to start bleeding them young. Get them real young, you know. And so Patrick got an opportunity. He was only 16, 17 or something. 17. And the year before, he was 16, he travelled to meet up with the Australian team over in Europe. And he had to jump in a cab in Rome somewhere to go to a training camp 3 hours north of Rome. And it was an experience for him. And Mum and Dad at the other end of it was really, really worried that the young 16-year-old was travelling in a cab with the cab driver didn't know, going to some remote training camp somewhere. And, you know, but he got there. At the end of the day, it was all sorted. And but, yeah, Patrick, you know, he's had opportunities. And Brian gave him the opportunity when he came off the bench with the Australian team in Melbourne. And he top scored. And that was the beginning of his journey. And Nathan Jawa, I recall Bruce Palmer, who was the head coach of the Queensland team, and he also was the head coach of the Australian team. And I said, look, when I first met Nathan couldn't even do a layup. He was playing rugby league in AFL in Cairns and Upper Canada. He couldn't play basketball, and he was 6'6". I stood next to him, he was 15 years old. I said, Nathan. So I went up to Thursday on to run a basketball camp there, and I brought Nathan's family across from Bannigar to come and sit down with me so we can have that conversation about who Nathan could be. And so the family came and sat down, I introduced myself, and Nathan didn't know too much about me, so I started telling Nathan what I've done and all that sort of stuff. And then I talked to his family, I said, look, but I want you to make a commitment to me. If you make a commitment to me that you're prepared to work hard and make some sacrifices, I'll open doors for you and give you the opportunity. And he said, yes, I want to do that. So we spent 2 years of just developing him. And by the time he was 17, he was at the AIS. And from there, overseas, then he ended up being the first Indigenous Australian to play in the NBA. Okay. And Patrick was the first one that was drafted to play in the NBA. So the two different journeys, but it was great to be part of that journey with him. And mentoring was so important. I think from the other point of view too is it's about Aboriginal and Torres Strait people, about creating pathways and opportunities for those kids who I saw had the ability but need to be given the opportunity. And that's what I do now. I liaise with Basketball Australia a lot. And there's another young kid. I went to a national Aboriginal Touchdown Basketball Championship in Adelaide one year. I was doing commentary for NITV. And I recall this guy, 6'6", young kid, 16, just dumping the ball down the other end. I gotta go. So I got up and walked over there straight away. I said, "What's your name, mate?" He said, "Oh, my name's Keanu. Keanu, what's your surname?" "Oh, Smith." "Yeah, Keanu, all right." And so I started talking to him. I said, "What's your name?" I got his details and telephone numbers and emails and stuff. I said, "We're going to ring Mum up tomorrow. I'm going to talk to Mum when the tournament's over. Just talk to Mum, so when you're on your way back, we'll work out something for it." But anyway, this young kid's from the Pilbara area, okay, in WA. There's a young kid, he didn't know where he was going. And I said, "Oh, you should meet me halfway, say, talk, love, Nathan, go away. I'll trace a pathways for you." Anyway, I got him to come to the, after that journey, got him from the AIS, the Australian Sport, for a trial 2 months out of that tournament down in Adelaide. So anyway, he came across and a mate of mine was the head coach there. I said, "I want you to do an assessment on him to see where he's at so we know what we need to do to develop him to get him there." So he did an assessment of him, but he was competing against guys in that time, like the Ben Simpson played for Philadelphia, all the big guns from Utah, what's his name? Slipped on the mind there, but Ben Simpson, there was, Paddy, and a few others as well, was trialing for the Australian team. And I said, "Damn, we were just unlucky." Because a lot of these guys went on to play NBA in America, like Joe Inglis and, a couple of the other boys. But at the end of the day, Ian said to me, "Danny, he's not more ready for next year." I said, "All right, what do we need to get him into the state team so we can get him developed at that level to get him in next year?" And so we worked out a program for him, got him in the state team, play for representative WA, then we got him to go to the AIS the following year. And a couple of years at the AIS, and he ended up playing for Australia in the under-19s. And he went to the World Championships, and then from there he ended up going to play for Arizona State University. And he was the one player who had a major impact on Arizona State making the Sweet 16. And he's about 6'9", wiry, jump. And I ended up finding out later his father was Tiny Pinder, who was Alan Globetrotter. He was one of his, he played for Perth Wildcats, played for Sydney, played for Western Sydney. And he was one of the foundation players in the National League in Australia. So so it was just amazing when you see kids like that, and you see talent, and you sort of give them the opportunity to play. And in relation to generation now, out of all my children, none of them followed my footsteps. Rugby league, rugby union, boxing, surfing, and they don't want to play basketball. The one I've got now is my grandkid Leroy. Leroy's following the footstep now, and he's now playing with the Wizards, North Brisbane, and we just got back were playing in a state championship up at Townsville, and they won their division. State champions. How goes that? Awesome. And this young gentleman over here, to Leroy's mate, he's also one of the star players in Leroy's team. They play up Northside together, but they went there as well, but they finished 6th. They were in the Division 1. And there was pretty tough competition, but yeah, put you around of applause for the But Leroy said to me, came up and spent some time with the Poppy. There you go, mate, this is not bad. So, I am going to be a better player than Paddy Mills. Okay, alright. Well, you know what it takes. Hard work, mate. You know, hard work. You've got to be focused. You've got to stay focused. Yeah, I want to go to college in America, Poppy. I said, study, Leroy, study. Get through your education. Stay focused on that. Once you do that, you achieve that, then everything will just going to work with you, work with your skills, get your education behind you, and get you to college in America. So I've got a lot of contacts over in America. Even sent my sister's son over there for 4 years and got a degree out of it. So I try to encourage kids now to play basketball, especially Indigenous kids, to play basketball and follow their dreams and aspirations in life, and where they want to be in life. And you know, college in America, if you're good at basketball, you would go into small colleges first a couple of years, then another 2 years after they go to a major college. Education will be free for you. You can come out of it doing exactly what you love doing, eat, sleep, and play basketball, and get ready to go to the NBA. Probably I want to play NBA. I want to play NBA. I want to play. Okay, all right. Well, it's hard work. You know, you've got to work hard. It doesn't come easy. You've got to start organising yourselves now. Start planning for your future and stuff. And we'll be there to support you 110% all the way. So. You know, and Leroy was the one that keeps me going. Now my grandkids keeps me focused and inspire me to keep going because they're playing the game now. And none of the other kids didn't. So, but I'm grateful that my grandson is taking showing the initiative and he's got a passion for it as well. So, which is great. He's got that passion and the dream. What I always said. Always set your goals high, even though if you don't achieve, you've got to have a goal. You know, and just never give up on your dreams and aspirations in life.
Thank you so much, Danny. That was a very great, insightful look at your life. Thank you, Danny. And I'm sure there's plenty of damper left over there, so please feel free to take some home with you. And the possum's been there soon. But thank you very much for coming here tonight. Thanks.